Hey everybody, Ash here with The Binge. Today I'm coming at you with 4 different fragrances from the house Swiss Arabian. You may have seen some about them on a couple of other channels. I know there have been videos put out there. They actually reached out to me and asked if I would like some of their fragrances to review, and I said sure. They sent me these 4, I've given them multiple wearings. Now I'm going to let you guys know what I think about them. Also, if you're interested in any of these, I've got a link to Swiss Arabian's website in the description. If you use the code BINGE, you'll get 15% off your order. So keep that in mind if any of these sound interesting to you. All right, guys, let's jump into it. I'm not going to do a full review on each one of these or else this video is going to run too long. So I'm going to give you kind of a Cliff's Notes version of each one. Also touch a little bit on the presentation, and I'll have some videos so you guys can see that a little bit closer. First one I want to talk about is this guy, Darbar. Box on this is kind of cool, looks a little bit futuristic. As you can see, they're very reflective. And inside each one of these boxes, you get a little pamphlet like this. You've probably seen these before if you've bought fragrances from like Rasasi or Al Haramain. Basically just unfolds like that and has pictures of the other offerings from the house. And a very small biography about the company. Intriguing. So here's how the bottle looks on this one. To me, this looks like a holy hand grenade, right? Doesn't it? Is that just me? It is really heavy though. The metal here actually looks like it's fused together. So 2 parts put together over top of a glass bottle, which you can see there obviously, so you can see the amount of fragrance that you have left. This is really heavy though. If you throw this at somebody, you're gonna crack their head open. I don't know why you'd be throwing a perfume bottle at somebody, but... Now the opening of this one does smell like an inspired by fragrance, so it smells similar to another popular fragrance out there. You can take a look at the note breakdown and probably immediately guess which fragrance that is. Saffron, raspberry, I mean really the most popular fragrance that has a raspberry note of all time. This guy right here, Tom Ford Tuscan Leather. Now technically Darbar is not a leather fragrance. It's supposed to be more of an oud based fragrance, but the opening of that is very similar to Tuscan Leather. Now the leather note in this is not as prominent as it is in Tuscan Leather, and the raspberry note isn't either. There's actually a pear note that you get right off the top. It's like a crisp pear, but it dissipates really quickly. It almost acts like a citrus note. As you spray it on, you can smell it for the first 5 minutes or so, then it's gone. As it dries down, you get rose, oud, patchouli, and amber popping out, and that dry down is a little bit powdery. So the rose, oud, all of that combines, and it's kind of a powdery feel. I'll let everybody know the oud here is not barnyard, fecal, funky, none of that. Because for some people, when they hear the word oud, they get a little bit nervous, think that it might be off-putting and really gross. There's not that issue here. The amber lends a little bit of sweetness in that dry down, and this is more of a subtle scent. It doesn't project out like a beast, not gonna fill a room, no heavy sillage, no heavy projection, just subtle, a little bit soft. The longevity's good, so that's not an issue. I get 6+ hours. Just understand the projection is not beast mode.
Beast mode.
Maybe I'll start doing that in every single video when I say beast mode. It'll be my thing. So yeah, the opening to this one is close to Tuscan Leather, but it changes substantially into the dry down. Becomes a powdery rose, oud, amber. Nuances of patchouli and musk. Really nice though, smells good. Looks like a holy hand grenade. Really heavy. And this one runs about $55 for a 50 ml bottle that looks like this. Really solid, pleasant, subtle, switches things up a little bit from your typical designer out there. Worth checking out. Next up, we're gonna go to the cheapest of the list. This guy, Mudamayez. This one runs $35 for a 100 ml. Bottle design on this is pretty minimal, just a square-shaped design, a little bit reminiscent of like a Bleu de Chanel, just really squared off. There are a few lines on the back here. You got kind of a gradient coloration going on. The cap is just a lightweight plastic. I guess not super lightweight. Cap does not click into place. I would not pick this up by the cap. Box pretty much the same as the bottle. Just kind of a plain gradient design going on there. The same stripes. Now I've seen this compared a couple of times online to YSL's M7. This one, in case you're unaware, Yves Saint Laurent, M7, discontinued, the vintage bottle. And I've got to tell you guys, this does not smell like M7. Not close. It's really not. I'm not saying that to be contrarian or anything like that. It just doesn't smell like it. I had a couple of people, including my wife, smell those side by side. Didn't even really say anything. I just said, hey, can you smell these two and tell me if they smell the same? Had people check it out. Nobody said they smelled similar. They just shook their heads. No, they're not close. I just had to make sure I wasn't going crazy or something. So I know that this has kind of been put out there as an alternative to M7, but it's not. An alternative to M7 is M7 Oud Absolu by YSL. This initially comes off as an earthy vetiver mixed with kind of an incensey medicinal oud. There's also a dose of orange and pine in the opening. This is not a clone of that. This, to me, is not remotely inspired by that. In the mid, you pick up nuances of cashmere wood and cloves. Although they're not overwhelming, the clove here isn't super strong, it shouldn't put you off. And it sweetens up with a bit of amber in the dry down. The earthiness as well as that smokiness tones down a bit as it dries down as well. Now to be sure, the oud is still here, that smokiness from the oud is still here. It's just not as loud, not as in your face, and again, just toned down. So yeah, this one is warm, a bit sweet with touches of smokiness throughout. It is fairly unique and it would make a good fall fragrance. Longevity for me in the 5 to 6 hour range. Projection, moderate to slightly below moderate. It's really not super loud, but for the price, it gets the job done. Up next, let's go with this one, Shaghaf Oud. Shaghaf Oud. Very reflective, this one, yeah. The bottle here, just a very reflective gold, as you see. It's gonna kind of remind you of other fragrances like Scent Story 24 Gold, maybe even some of the Atkinson's bottles. Got kind of an X design around the cap, as well as on the back here. The cap here slides into place, it doesn't click into place, but it's got a really firm hold here, as you can see. The box here is pretty cool. It's again a reflective gold. It kind of mimics what's going on with the bottle. And it has a textured wood grain pattern all the way around it. Thankfully, there's no glitter in this textured wood pattern because that would just make a complete mess, even though it may look a little glittery. But this one's pretty cool. This one goes for $60 per bottle, and this comes in a 75 ml eau de parfum size. So yeah, this bottle, like I said earlier, reminds me a lot of Scent Story 24 Gold, just because of the shiny gold and the black text. And initially, you may be thinking that this is gonna be really similar to 24 Gold. I pointed because it's in the other room. It does open boozy with the sweet oud. There is kind of an alcohol blast initially when you very first spray it on, but that dissipates pretty quickly. And then as it starts to dry down, just really early on, you get this sweet saffron rose oud combo. There's also praline and vanilla in the dry down, which adds a little bit more sweetness. This one is actually really, really good. Very satisfying, very strong, good performance. Probably one you don't want to go too heavy on because you don't want to choke people out around you. It's going to be a little bit better for cooler weather. And this one actually is very similar to a fragrance that I own. It's this fragrance right here, Lancôme Oud Bouquet. The note breakdown of this and this are almost identical, as are the smells. Shaghaf Oud, right? And Lancôme Oud Bouquet, these two almost identical. Very, very close. This is high quality stuff, smells great. This is the best way I can describe this fragrance, Oud Bouquet. Really high quality, 60 bucks, 75 mils. Fantastic alternative to this fragrance. That's gonna bring me to my favorite of this lot, is this guy, Attar Al Ghutra. The bottle on this one is pretty simple, but it looks nice. Just have this design here. The cap does not click into place. It's actually really loose on there. No problem though, just don't pick it up by the cap. Then on the back, just a plain white bottle. The box that it comes in is pretty cool. You have this outer box, which has the same design as the bottle. Quite large, as you can see here. This is a velvety texture, so this is all velvety feeling all the way around. You have some Arabic writing on the back. I can't read it. Yeah, so this opens up, and then inside of that is this box. It's got kind of a semi-leather, like pleather kind of feel on the outside, all the way around. It's quite thick, as you can see there. You have the name of the fragrance here again, Attar Al Ghutra, and this little pull tab. So you give that a pull, and the bottle sits right in here. This is kind of a velvety textured foam. So the bottle sits right in there, keeps everything nice and safe, and this is magnetized. Oh, you see there, magnetized. So that's a pretty cool presentation, I like that. Now this guy, this also smells really similar to a popular fragrance that I already talked about. It smells similar to this, Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. Now Attar Al Ghutra is the most expensive of the bunch. This one is $90 for a 100 ml eau de parfum concentration bottle, but I would say it's worth it. Of these four, these two are my favorites. No offense to the Holy Hand Grenade, that's a cool bottle. This one has citrus mixing with saffron and leather in the opening, so you have this really nice complementary feel going on. You got the lighter, fresher notes mixing with those spicier, darker ones. Works out really well. And then the dry down, mainly leather and suede, mixing with its sweetened up oud note that's in the background. There are other notes in here that play supporting roles throughout, like jasmine and sandalwood, for example. But the leather and the suede, those are the stars here. This one is closer to Tuscan Leather the whole way through, whereas Darbar was similar to Tuscan Leather in the opening and changed as it dried down. This one stays pretty much as an inspired by Tuscan Leather fragrance the whole way through. Main difference to me between this and Tuscan Leather is this comes across sweeter, a little bit less intense, not as in your face. So for some people that's gonna make this more wearable than Tuscan Leather. Longevity on that, really good, 8+ hours. Projection, very good as well. If you're interested in these or any of the other fragrances on Swiss Arabian's website, Binge gets you 15% off. My personal favorite, Attar Al Ghutra, really, really nice alternative to Tuscan Leather. And then Shaghaf Oud, this one smells really, really high quality, very nice praline, vanilla, rose, oud, good stuff. And very similar to this, Lancôme Oud Bouquet, which I also really, really like. You know what? I'll go ahead and do a giveaway with this too. Yeah, 500 likes. Once we hit that, random comment picker. I will pick a random comment from below that says you want to be entered. I will pin the winner after 500 likes to the top of the comments. Come back and check then. If you're the winner, reach out to me. I'll get you your prize. I will send you a decant from each one of these bottles. So you'll get 4 decants. You can check each one of these out. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and leave a comment, and good luck. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking this out. If you're interested, again, check the website, Swiss Arabian. It's in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.